This session is continuation of the part 1 of the lesson The Summit Within. In the last session, we read about the author's various feelings when he reached the summit of the Everest. He had sadness as well as happiness. He also thought that why at the first place he chose Everest to climb. Was it because it was the mightiest, it was the strongest, or it was the most difficult peak to climb in the world? When man takes delight in overcoming obstacles, hurdles, and when man takes the risk and succeeds, the joy that he experiences is out of the world. So people go for the adventure because they want to experience this joy and a feeling of victory. That reaching such difficult path, at the end of this path, that he feels that as there are mountains outside in the nature around us, there are mountains inside us also. So it is necessary to us to reach both the mountains within and outside also. That is to overcome all the fear from inside us, its negativity. It is required to overcome these thoughts and to reach the summit within us as well as the outside. Now, let's move to the next part of this lesson. Consider a typical climb towards the summit. On the last heights, you are sharing a rope with another climber. You form in. He cuts the steps in the hard ice. Then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim. You strain every nerve as you take every step. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help. Else, they might have given up. Breathing is difficult. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. You wonder why you ever undertook the ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of up. But almost at once, you snap out of that mode. There is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle, and you go on. Your companion keeps up with you. Just another 50 feet or 100. Maybe you ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other, and then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. Looking around from the summit, you tell yourself that it was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on them. The surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. Below, you see vast valleys sloping into the distance. It is an enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You go down and make your obeisances to whichever god you worship. I left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of goddess Durga. Poo Dorji left a relic of a Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under a crane, a heap of rocks and stones in the snow, as they are not the symbol of conquest but of revenge. In this part, the author explains how the mountaineer or climbing the mountain is not just an individual task. It is actually a team effort. You are sharing the same rope with another team member. One will cut the ice and make a step where you can put your feet in. So, it is not easy to complete the task, and each of the team member had the responsibility of motivating the other person to climb up, because climbing a difficult mountain can be depressing, and that can be a moment when one tries to give up. When the author and his expedition reached the summit, the first thing they did that they paid respect to their respective god. The author left the picture of a Guru Nanak on the summit. Rawat left a picture of which goddess Durga. Pudorji left a relic of Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under a where? Under a crane, that is a heap of rocks and stones in the snow. It was not a symbol of conquest but symbol of respect of the God of Almighty. Now let's read the next para, children. The experience of having climbed to the summit changes you completely. There is not another summit. It is within yourself. It is in your own mind. Each man carries within himself his own mountain peak. He must climb it is to reach to a fuller knowledge of himself. It is fearful and unescapable. It cannot be climbed by anyone else. You yourself had to do it. The physical act of climbing to the summit of a mountain outside is akin to the act of climbing the mountain within. The effects of both the climbs are the same, whether the mountain you climb is physical or emotional or spiritual. The climb will certainly change you. It teaches you much about the world and about yourself. I venture to think that my experience as an Everester has provided me with the inspiration to face life's ordeals resolutely. Climbing the mountain was a worthwhile experience. The conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. The internal summits are perhaps higher than Everest. Now explanation, children. And it is our responsibility to reach that summit. And once you reach, you overcome all your negativity, mental blocks inside you. You are a changed person again. It teaches you about the world and yourself also. In the last paragraph, the author says that climbing Everest was a very important event of his life. It was as difficult as climbing the summit within. Both are equally important, but this event or this adventure that he had undergone has brought so much change inside him and brought a courage also that he is ready to face in his life any adventurous and dangerous. But then he says that internal summits are perhaps more difficult than the external summit. Now, moral of this lesson, children. What is the moral? It is repeated by me so many times, and it says that before you move on to your life adventure, it is very important to first climb their own mountain which is inside you. Remove the negativity, remove the question in your mind which comes and says, can I do it? Is it okay for me? Do I have the capability? Overcome all these questions first. And once you overcome these questions, your own fears of underestimating of yourselves, then only you can summit outside also. Thank you. Take care of yourself.